Okay, I'm not sure if this is Monday or Tuesday that you'll be watching this one, but we're going to start looking at more complex inheritance patterns. So these slides are on another sheet. There should be a handout on the front bench that deals with these ones. Okay, we're into the last section for this chapter. Again, your test is going to be on Friday, and the online assignment is due Wednesday at midnight. And I will hopefully be getting some internet access on Monday. So if I do, then I'll be able to check for emails in case you have questions. Okay, or you can text me. My number is 1-902-940-4837. Oh, look, I'll even write it here. 940-4837. Okay, so if you need me or if you have questions, then I'll have my phone, and it works in my hospital room, so I can text you back, or I can try and find a way to get an email or word to you one way or another. Okay, so the first type of complex inheritance pattern that we're going to look at, so this means when we're not talking about the Mendelian ratios. Okay, Mendel's ratios worked for complete dominance, where either there's a dominant trait, or when they have both recessive alleles, they show the recessive trait. Okay, so the first one we're looking at is incomplete dominance. In this case, inheritance for either allele is dominant. When you have both alleles, you end up with a blending of the two traits, or that's what seems to happen. Example is with snapdragon flowers. If they have both of the R alleles, then they get red flowers. If they have the R prime alleles, then there's no red alleles. We get no red pigment, so the flowers appear white. If they have one of each allele, then the flowers appear kind of halfway between. Okay, they don't produce enough red pigment, so instead they appear pink. Because neither allele is dominant, the crosses show a unique pattern. Okay, so we're gonna try doing a Punnett square for a cross between a red and white flowered snapdragon. Okay, so first thing, what would the alleles be? What would the genotype be for the red flower? It would be bigger, bigger. The white flower would be R prime, R prime. Okay, so if we have bigger, bigger by R prime, R prime, we'd have bigger, bigger, R prime, R prime. All of the offspring would end up being what color? Oop, 100%. Oop, sorry, cranky thing. 100% would be R prime. So that's the genotypic. This is phenotypic, so they'd all be pink. Okay. So this one is showing what we just crossed, a red and a white. If we were to take them, the ones that have, they just have a different symbol. So their color, C is for color, and they have two red alleles, which makes them red. This one's showing the color they have two white alleles, so this one has the white flowers. So when they are crossed, they get exactly what we had. All of the F1 generation have the one R and one W allele. Okay, so they're all pink. If we mated those, so a pink one by a pink one, then this is the cross that you get. You get the red, each one could give a red allele or a white allele. So if you get a red and a red, this one would be red and red, so it appears red. This one would be an R and a W, so it appears pink. R and a W, so it appears pink. And a W and a W, so it appears white. Okay, so sometimes they use different symbols. In this case, it might be easier to understand in saying that the gene is C for color and the allele is the R or the W when they raise it to the other letter. Okay, so you're going to see them written slightly different ways, and I want you to be able to recognize them. Okay, this is obviously from the male because it looks like a sperm, and this would be from the female part of the plant, the ovule, like the egg. Okay, so if we looked at these offspring, then the phenotypic ratio would be 1 red to 2 pink to 1 white. Okay. Genotypic would be 1. We can do it this way or just with the R's. Okay. To 2 with 1 of each. To 1 that has both W. Okay. So the other way you can look at it is 50% of the offspring would have pink flowers, 25% would have red, and 25% would have white. So that's incomplete dominance. Okay, here's one for you to try. I'm gonna get you to take a few minutes. Maybe whoever is in for me today could pause the video and let you have a few minutes to try this one, and then I'll go through it with you. Okay, so please pause. Okay, so you've had a couple of minutes to try this on your own or with someone beside you. Some key things you should look for when you're reading. It says they are incompletely dominant. Red flowers are incompletely dominant over white flowers. Okay, the heterozygous plants are pink. So that's exactly the kind of snapdragon flowers that we were talking about. But this could be a different looking flower. If a red flowered 4 o'clock plant is crossed with a white flowered 4 o'clock plant, what will be the color of the F1 generation? Okay, so let's look. Red flowered, so that would be, the genotype for this one would be color is red. Okay, it's crossed with a white flower. White. Okay, the F1 generation, this is exactly like the earlier ones we did. All of them should be this, right? Okay, because you have this possibility and you have this possibility. So you get R, W, R, W. So they should all be pink. Okay, all pink. Ooh, messy. The F1 generation is crossed with its white parent. So the F1 generation, we just said they're all, so we'd have C, R, C, W. That's the F1 by white parent. So the white parent would be W, W. All right, so that means we'd have one of them can give an R or a W, and the other would give a W or a W. Okay, so we'd end up with CR, CW, CR, CW, 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 and CW, CW. Okay, So 50%, or you can do it the other way. You could say 50% are pink, RW, and 50% are white, WW. Okay, or you could have said 2 to 2. The F1 generation is crossed with its red parent. Okay, so that would be CR, CW by CR, CR. So this time, if you were guessing, it should be 50-50 pink and red. But let's see. CR, CR. So we get CR, 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 CW, CR, CW. So you get 50% pink and 50% red. Cool. Okay, so that is incomplete dominance, where neither is dominant over the other. Instead, you get the almost like the blended trait. The second, more complex inheritance pattern is called codominance. And this is where both alleles of a gene are expressed in the heterozygous individual. Okay, so both alleles are dominant alleles. If both of them appear, then they will show both features. So if, for instance, in this particular type of chicken, if they had both B alleles, then it would be all black. If they had both white alleles, it would be a white chicken. But if they had a B and a W, then you get a pattern. Some feathers are showing the black and some feathers are showing the white, and we call that a barred pattern. Some actually have multiple alleles, so they have more than 2 possible alleles for the given gene. Blood type is a prime example of this. Okay, so remember when we learned about blood types, we have A, type B, type AB, and type O. Okay, so there are 3 alleles involved. There's A, there's B, and then there's O. O is a recessive, okay? But if you have 2 A's or an A and an O allele, then you'll end up being blood type A. If you have 2 B's or a B and an O allele, then you'll end up being type B. If you have an A and a B allele, like this, okay, then you would end up being type AB. And if you have both of the O alleles or both recessive alleles, then you end up being type O. Okay, I think this right here is just, one sec, I need the selector pen. Yeah, this is just another way of writing them, so we'll get rid of that box. Okay, let me get my pen back. Pen, oops, get rid of that, this pen, there. Okay, so this is another way that you might understand better. Okay, sometimes you'll see it written with the big I, with the little letters up right to the subscript to that little letter, and then the little I for the recessive O allele. For us, a lot of times it's easier if we look at it this way. If they have 2 big A alleles or an A and an O allele, then it's type A. If they have 2 big B's or a B and an O, then it's type B. If they have an A and a B, they're type AB. And if they have 2 of the recessive O alleles, then they're type O. Okay, so type AB, if you remember, means that they have both A and B factors on the outside of the red blood cells. If they're type A, then they only have A's sticking out. If they're type B, then they only have B's sticking out. If they're type O, then they have none sticking out. Okay, so we have a couple of questions about inheritance in blood types. Okay, so this, if a woman has blood type AB and a man has blood type A, what possible blood types will their children have? All right, so we have um, blood type AB and man has type A. Okay, so he could be A or A, O, eh, that's funny. Okay, AO, right? So you'll have to look at the two possibilities. So the man can give possibly A and an A. Here's the man. The woman can give A and B. There's the woman. Okay, so if he has both A dominant, then it could be AA, so that'd be type A. Could be AB, so that'd be type AB. We could be AA or AB. Okay, so their children could have type A or type AB if he is AA. If he is AO, then he could be type A. Then the children could be type A. They could be type AB. They could be type A, or they could be type B. So in this case, they could be type A, type AB, or type B. In this case, they could only be type A or type AB. All right, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to try numbers, the questions that are indicated on this page. So page 542, number 1, and page 544, number 4 and 5. Okay, so if they could pause and give you a few minutes to try those. If it happens to be that this is the end of Monday's class, then I'd like you to do them for homework so that you can go over them on Tuesday. Okay, so please pause. Okay, so let's look at these. Suppose a man with blood type B marries a woman with blood type AB. What blood types would you expect to find among their children? Okay, so the man is type B. The man could be BB or he could be BO. Doesn't tell us which. Okay, the woman is type AB, so she can give an A or a B. So we have possibilities. There's AB. We could have B. We can have AB or B. If instead he is BO, okay, then the children could be AB, they could be B, they could be A, or they could be B. So with this one, it could be A, B, or AB. But with this one, it can only be B or AB. All right. Page 544, number 4. How many different genotypes of the human blood type are possible? How many different genotypes of the human blood type are possible? All right, so we can have AA, we can have AO, we can have BB, we can have BO, We can have A, B, or we can have O, O. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types. Okay. How many different phenotypes are possible? So we have type A, we have type B, we have type AB, and we have type O. So there are 4. Why are these two numbers different? They're different because there are um, there's more than one way of having type A and type B. So you can have AA, heterozygous, or sorry, homozygous A, or AO, and you can have BB and BO. So because you can have two different ways of being type B, there's more genotypes than there are phenotypes. Number 5. A woman sues a man for the support of her child. She has blood type A, so she could be AA or AO. Her child has blood type O. All right. And the man has type B. Could the man be the father? Explain your answer. Her child has blood type O. So for her child to have blood type O, she must be AO. Okay? The man has blood type B. Could the man be the father? Well, if she is type AO, which she would have to be, she can give an A or an O. This is her. For him to be able to have a baby that has a type O blood, he would have to be BO, right? It is possible as long as he is BO. Because if he is BO, then we can have AB, we can have type B, we can have type O, or we can have type, oops, sorry, to have type AB, we can have type B, we can have type A, or we can have type O in the children. Okay, so if he is BO, he would have to be BO in order to have an O child with her. So yes, he could be the father, but they would have to check. Okay, other types of complex inheritance. Polygenic inheritance. So if you break this word apart, poly means many, and genic refers to genes. So this is a term given when a certain trait is controlled by more than one gene. The result is usually a range of variation. So there's like a spectrum of what you can see in the phenotypes for the trait. The more genes that control the trait, the greater the number of different categories for the phenotype. Okay, so examples would be for human skin color, there's a wide range. For body height, for corneal length, those are just certain examples of them. So for this one, we're not going to be looking at any kinds of problems that deal with it, but just that you understand that when a certain trait is controlled by more than one gene, then we call it polygenic inheritance. Oh, hi, I am. Oh, I just had another visitor. Okay, so we talked about polygenic inheritance, and basically it's just to understand what the term means. We won't be looking at any specifics dealing with that one, but if you can understand for a multiple choice or a match or fill in the blank or whatever, what it means, then that would be about enough about that one. Same with this one. Inheritance controlled by modifier genes. Okay, so if you look at the word modify, modify is in that. So certain genes may help by working with the main genes in order to control the expression of a certain trait. For instance, with eye color, When we looked at the little activity that you did in the lab 35, when you were homozygous recessive, little b codes for blue. Okay, big B, if you have a big B, it's going to code for a certain amount of melanin production, which is a brown pigment. But because of the action of modifier genes, other ones that kind of influence um, their expression, they're going to be, you can range, there's a wide range. So you might be brown, green, bluish green, gray, anywhere in there. Okay, so that's just in general terms a type of inheritance that has genes that act as modifiers to help with it gives you a spectrum again, usually. Okay, now this one you will have some problems to deal with. Okay, so it's sex-linked inheritance. I think what I might do is stop the video right now and then we'll do it as a separate video because I don't want this video to be too big. Okay, so on for the next video.